Have you ever stopped to think what it would be like if we could follow the lives of the children of classic cartoon characters? We recently got the release of the How to Train Your Dragon live-action movie, and it turned out amazing. But many people forget that the franchise already had 3 animated films, and in the last one we actually met Hiccup and Astrid's daughter and son, mini versions of the 2 protagonists, just with swapped hair colors. Now imagine with us, what if instead of Hiccup and Toothless taking the spotlight, How to Train Your Dragon 4 followed their kids? These 2 characters, Zephyr and Nuffink, would step into the lead roles, riding none other than the baby dragons of Toothless and the Light Fury. It would be a dream to see a new generation of Vikings and dragons starring in a DreamWorks film, with epic battles, unlikely new friendships, and those emotional moments that bring tears to audiences in theaters. The best example of a next generation in cartoons that's already making waves is Evie Pig. Peppa Pig's baby sister took nothing less than 20 years to arrive, becoming the very first new member of the Pig family since the show launched back in 2004. But even though it took 2 decades for Evie to be born, in the cartoon's world, the age gap between the 2 Pig sisters is just 6 years. That makes Evie truly part of a different generation than the show's main character. And it has inspired lots of fans to imagine what a whole new series focused only on the youngest Pig sibling could look like. If that happened, we'd probably see the introduction of new characters her age, like a son for Mr. Bull and Mrs. Cow. Or maybe Peppa's best friend, Susie Sheep, could get a little sister, recreating the legendary pig and sheep duo of best friends all over again. Would you be as excited to watch that as we would? Get ready, because now we're about to show you all the very best next generations in cartoons. Before we dive into others, let's go straight to a special case. There's a fan project called The Amazing Future of Gumball, created by a super talented artist named Icelep. This story takes place exactly 24 years after the events of the original series and shows Gumball and Penny as parents of 2 kids, Zach and Emmy. Darwin and Carrie went way bigger. They had nothing less than 8 kids. On top of that, plenty of new characters pop up and make the universe even more fun. One example is Miriam, the daughter of Alan and Carmen, who ends up dating Zach. It feels like fanfiction, but it's so well done it could easily pass as official content. And the coolest part is that this project gained so much traction that it became almost a must-know for any Gumball fan. In fact, we've already made another video talking about all the new characters in this future generation. If you haven't watched that yet, set it aside to check out right after this one. Now let's move on to Phineas and Ferb, one of those cartoons that defined an era and left unforgettable memories for so many people. In the episode Act Your Age, we get a very interesting preview of what could happen in the future. In it, Ferb already appears basically grown up and dating none other than Vanessa, Dr. Doofenshmirtz's daughter. At the same time, Phineas finally realizes his feelings for Isabella and gives her the kiss fans had been waiting years for. After so many seasons of the girl suffering in unrequited love, it was a goosebumps moment for everyone rooting for the couple. With that ending, it's easy to imagine what a new generation of inventors and dreamers would look like. Online, fans have even created versions of the kids, Ferb and Vanessa with 2 girls, and Phineas and Isabella with 2 daughters and a son named Lynette, Jacob, and Marie. Can you picture a new season showing all these kids building wild inventions, getting into trouble, and facing hilarious situations just like their parents did? That would be epic. Seriously, Disney, we've never asked for anything before. And now, a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video, you need to subscribe to the channel right now. Now let's move on to The Loud House, a series that's already about a gigantic family, 11 siblings living together under the same roof. So just thinking about future generations makes it easy to imagine how many wild stories could be born from that. And of course, we can't forget the main character Lincoln and his strong-willed girlfriend Ronnie Ann. The 2 went through plenty of phases filled with ups and downs, but if they stayed together even from a distance, went through college, and later got married, it would totally make sense to see a perfect blend of the Louds and the Casagrandes. Now imagine if, instead of just a couple of kids, they decided to follow the tradition of both families and have a bunch of children. It would be a delightful mess, full of adventures, hilarious fights, and tons of stories that bring back the chaotic vibe we already know so well. It's basically a spin-off that perfectly fits both the Louds and the Casagrandes styles. Honestly, I'd love to see that show actually happen. Let's start with a dream that a lot of people would love to see, even though it might never officially happen. Barbie and Ken getting married and having a daughter. Just picture it. Susie growing up little by little, first as an adorable baby, then a sweet little girl, and finally a teenager carrying all the charisma and style of her mom. It would be like a brand new version of Barbie stepping in to keep alive the legacy of this iconic character. After the massive success of the Barbie movie, this wish only got stronger among fans, but Mattel, the doll's creator, has already made it clear that this isn't part of their plans. For them, Barbie represents freedom, and marriage, according to the company, doesn't really fit with that image. But even without official plans, fans' imagination has no limits. A perfect example is what the profile at Is a Sims did in The Sims. They recreated Barbie and Ken living together, and over time having Susie, who grew up into a teenager that looks almost exactly like her mom. Seriously, it would be amazing to see Susie in a movie or even in an official animated Barbie series. A new generation that could bring even more stories, adventures, and of course, a lot of style. You can't talk about future generations without bringing up Scooby-Doo, one of the most timeless cartoons ever. I mean, who doesn't love watching a group of teenagers? And of course, a big cowardly dog, solving spooky mysteries filled with monsters and supernatural stuff. If we go back to the last really memorable version, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, we can clearly see some romances starting to form. Like Velma with Shaggy, and of course the classic couple Daphne and Fred, who have been pretty much inseparable since the very beginning of the franchise. Now imagine instead of repeating the same formula in new series, Warner decided to go all in on something totally different, showing this gang's kids forming a brand new mystery-solving team. That would bring a fresh take while still keeping the essence every fan loves. The original characters would obviously be much older by then and not really able to keep running after fake ghosts, but it would be awesome to see their kids inherit their courage or their fear. And here's a fun fact from real life. The actors who played Fred and Daphne in the very first live-action movie actually ended up getting married for real and had 2 kids together. So, the whole new generation idea exists even outside the screen. Speaking of high-energy characters, we can't skip Kick Buttowski, the most extreme kid in the neighborhood. Anyone who watched the series definitely laughed a ton at his crazy stunts, but also noticed the love-hate vibes between him and his classmate Kendall. Even though he denied it whenever he could, it was pretty clear in the last episode that Kick had a crush on her. Proof of that is in one of his dreams, where Kendall shows up as a grown warrior queen holding a giant battle axe. That was basically his unconscious way of confessing. Now imagine if Disney decided to bring this series back with the couple all grown up, married, and with kids. It would be amazing to see a new generation mixing Kick's radical spirit with Kendall's intelligence and determination. Fans online have already come up with how this would look. They'd have twin daughters, Ryder, who's all about adventure, and Laurel, super studious and taking after her mom. Picture an entire season with these two getting into suburban adventures, running into trouble, and of course trying to deal with their grades at school. It would be so much fun and definitely have the potential to win over both longtime fans and a brand new generation of viewers. Now talking about Disney, up until today, we've only had one princess who officially became a mother, Ariel, in The Little Mermaid 2, where her daughter Melody took the spotlight as the protagonist. But another couple that would be perfect to have heirs is Jasmine and Aladdin. Just imagine stories about the children of the future king and queen of Agrabah, always joined by the genie with his semi-phenomenal, nearly cosmic powers. That would be a continuation that would definitely win over audiences. And the coolest part is that there are already fan-made designs showing how their kids could look. 2 girls and 1 boy. The designs are simply amazing and look ready to be part of any Disney production. If this ever actually happened, Jasmine would become the second Disney princess with official children, and that would mark a historic moment for the studio. Jumping into the DreamWorks universe, we can't forget about Puss in Boots and his partner Kitty Softpaws. Ever since she showed up, Kitty has proven to be the perfect match for Puss, sometimes even sharper and more clever than him in many situations. At the end of the second movie, we saw the 2 of them staying together, along with Perito, as they headed toward Shrek and Fiona's kingdom. That sparked a fun question. Could we end up seeing little kittens around? It's worth pointing out that from Shrek's main trio, Puss is the only one who doesn't have heirs yet. Both Shrek and Donkey already have plenty of kids running everywhere, so it would be incredible to see Puss and Kitty's kittens bringing even more adventure and chaos. Just picture it. Some might inherit their dad's boldness, others their mom's sharp wit, or maybe the perfect mix of both. To wrap this list with a bang, we've got Daffy Duck and Tina, a couple that won over fans in the Looney Tunes show. It's not hard to picture them married with ducklings of their own, especially since we already got a little preview of that. In one episode, Daffy ends up babysitting the child of Lola Tina's sister, and it basically felt like a test of what could come next. It's easy to imagine a yellow duckling taking after Tina, or even a black-feathered duckling just like Daffy. Let's just hope the personality doesn't turn out as selfish and crazy as the dad's. Otherwise, Tina would really have her hands full. It would be awesome to see this family unit expanding the Looney Tunes legacy with brand new characters without losing the essence that has marked generations. These were just a few ideas of animated stories that would look amazing with a brand new generation of characters. The cool thing is that even though none of this is official yet, just imagining it already makes you want to watch it. We've put together a few videos right here on the screen. You're going to love them.